Holy sh**. So hi everyone, my name is Aiden, and oh my god, I don't know where to start. This past week has been halfway to Halloween week for Spirit Halloween, and they've been dropping a couple, returners and even a new licensed prop over this past week, as you've seen by the multiple YouTube shorts I've done now on that YouTube shorts grind. And just when we thought the week was over, at midnight this morning, Spirit dropped a bombshell. This 6 seconds of absolute Spirit fan hell is just jam-packed with subliminal messages that, quite frankly, makes me want to vomit, but in a good way. So after staring at all 122 frames, yes, I did count, of this 6-second video, I've decided that this kind of warrants one of those University 6 style analysis videos like I did last year. And I'm on like 4 hours of sleep right now, so this is a perfect time to write a script and record a video, right? So without any further ado, let's just do this or something. So in this video, I'm just gonna assume you're like me and you've already familiarized yourself with this video. If not, it's literally 6 seconds long. Go watch it, the link is in the description. Now, just a disclaimer, there's 3 different edits of this teaser. The YouTube version, the Instagram version, and the TikTok version. All follow the same set of secrets, but are edited with slightly different contrast. So I'll be using whatever teaser looks best for what I'm talking about, and I'll put on the screen which teaser I'm using, if that makes any sense at all. Like any Spirit teaser, there's 2 components, the audio and the visual. And in this particular teaser, the visual is way more jam-packed than the audio. But that doesn't mean there's nothing in the audio, so let's start there. The one major thing that everyone is talking about is this very faint laugh at the beginning. Here, listen to the audio and see if you can hear it. Now, it's something that I didn't hear myself at first, but my fellow haunters were adamant that this laugh was of Creepy Rising Doll, which, when you put the audio side by side, I think they are absolutely right. I've been trying to figure out the best way to visualize this, and I think the most effective way is just to play one after the other, so here is the original prop laugh, followed by the laugh we hear in the teaser. I mean, I think that's pretty definitive, right? Does this mean she's coming back? If so, what version? Honestly, that's a whole other can of worms that I'm just not ready to open, so let's not worry about that at all for the time being. The rest of the audio is super noisy and mostly sound effects, so I think we can safely bypass that for now and move on to the visuals, and oh boy, the visuals are visual. Right off the bat, we get lots of graveyard imagery. That's a given, and it's in line with our previous observations of graveyards, possible morgues, and headstones. Basically, in the video, someone comes across a plaque in the dirt that says, quote, Spirit Hollow, established 1983, end quote, and that's the video. Now, before we get into this frame-by-frame analysis, let's actually briefly talk about the plaque. The established 1983 part is obviously reference to Spirit being founded in 1983, and this being the 40th anniversary. Now, Spirit Hollow should be a familiar term to longtime haunters, and this is not the first time Spirit has brought up this term. In fact, it was literally the official name of the 2010 Spirit ISE, Spirit Hollow Cemetery. Wait a minute. Cemetery? Does this sound familiar? We're getting a cemetery ISE this year. I mean, Spirit is beating it down our throats at this point. Okay, so obvious references out of the way, let's talk about hidden stuff. Over the course of the 122 frames, we see a lot of flashing occur. And if we go frame by frame, which I did, of course, we see flashes on 13 of those 122. Is 13 being the flashing frame count and a spooky number a coincidence? Absolutely, I'm sure of it. But is it something I still thought about extensively? Of course it is. Now, there's something to be said for almost every single one of these 13 flashes, so buckle up, kids, we're going on an adventure. Flash 1 is quite literally the first frame of the video, and it appears to be the outline of something. It definitely is a head with horns and some weird ears, or some sort of devil creature perhaps, but then there's a huge round thing obscuring half of the head. The general consensus is that this is a tombstone of sorts, that the head pops out from behind in a sort of Tombstone Terror-esque fashion, which, yeah, that could definitely be the case. The more I look at the face, the more I see something that looks similar to one of the 2013 talking cherubs. What if those ears aren't actually ears at all, and they're the wings of the devil cherub? And I mean, if that isn't enough, there's a freaking listing for the devil cherub on the Spirit website. I mean, come on. So I'm like really confident that this is the devil cherub being obscured by a tombstone, but I've already spent way too long on this frame, so let's move on. Frame number 2 shows some sort of skeletal face with red light up eyes. Now, people have been jumping to conclusions saying that this sucker is ripping Reaper of Souls, and like, as much as I'd like to believe that, I just don't see the resemblance. Honestly, it looks more like that night bust at Target than anything. anything. Really not a ton to say here because you can't see enough, but yeah, it's interesting nonetheless. Alright, frame 3. This one is about as clear as they're gonna get. It's 2 years on a tombstone. Now, what does 1692 to 1737 mean? I don't know. I googled it, but all I got were some random people on Ancestry.com. It's honestly probably a random set of dates assigned to a tombstone or tombstone inclusive prop, so it's another one we're just gonna have to wait on and see. The 4th frame was the first one that I saw, and it's another tombstone. Are you sensing a theme yet? It contains the name Deathstalker. Ooh, ominous. It looks like this is gonna be some sort of werewolf prop, and given the claws going through the center of the headstone, and this headstone can actually be seen in the background of some of the promotional imagery for the return of the sinister gothic gargoyle. Now, what does it say on the bottom? The first word is obviously his. The second word is partially obscured, though. I'm pretty sure it says hunger, so maybe the tombstone says his hunger cannot be satisfied or something like that. Huge shot in the dark, but who knows. Frame 5 shows, well, nothing interesting, but frame 6 shows some more possible ISE hints. We see 2 plaques on a stone wall. The bottom one is the buzzsaw plaque we saw again in the background of the promotional stuff for the gargoyle, and the top one says, what does that say, cemetery? Oh, again, goddamn! Frame 7 is the big mama that everyone's talking about, and it's obviously the Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. Now, for those of you unaware, Crypt Keeper was the first licensed animatronic that was carried by Spencer Spirit Holdings way back before Spencer Spirit Holdings was even a thing in 1996. Crypt Keeper has had a resurgence recently after being featured in the 2021 ISE in portrait form, but he never actually returned, so is this it? Is he finally coming back? Maybe? I don't know, man, stop asking. Frame 8 and frame 9 are almost identical, but where frame 8 has nothing, frame 9 has some text. The text is in the upper right-hand corner of the screen and reads, quote, "You can come in, but you will never leave!" Exclamation mark, end quote. Now, I was trying to think of what you can go in a graveyard, like building-wise, right? And the only thing that really makes sense is a mausoleum. So I'm thinking maybe we're getting a mausoleum and a graveyard, maybe front and back ISEs. Again, who knows? It could be just a prop phrase. Frame 10 shows yet another tombstone that we can actually see next to the Deathstalker one in those promo images I mentioned earlier. This one has another name on it, Darling Dolly, and shows 2 eyes, one opened and one closed. I'm thinking this is another prop, this time a doll obviously, and that it might be missing an eye, hence the imagery, but as of now, as my most used phrase in this video goes, we will have to wait and see. Side note, but the full text on the tombstone actually says, quote, "Here lies Darling Dolly, forever changed," which kind of goes in line with the whole one eye thing and the crack on the tombstone. I mean, neglected doll that was turned evil from said neglect. I mean, who knows? Frame 11 is more nothing, and frame 12 is a hanging bat that is almost definitely the one that Spirit has had for ages. We can see another plaque in the background. This time the first letter is M, so I thought immediately it was mausoleum, but it looks like the second letter is E, so that wouldn't work. Could be memorial though. I mean, who knows? We'll see eventually. And last but certainly not least, we have frame 13, which has more nothing. Okay, maybe that was least. So that about wraps up the frame-by-frame analysis of this whole monstrosity of a 6-second, 122-frame hell. I'm really quite happy with this teaser, actually, and the direction Spirit is going with this. I think they put a lot of time and effort into this, and it really shows. That was an absolute metric ton of information, so if you have any ideas or further comments on this whole thing, please feel free to let me know down in the comments below. Yeah, I'm tired, I'm sorry. But yeah, that's really all I have for today. Happy haunting, and I'll see you guys in the next one.